In the beginning of the movie, we see a squirrel whose name was Sully. He was sitting outside the park with his best friend, a mouse. And there were a lot of animals inside the park. It turns out that Sully and his friend have been taken out of the park. And in the rest of the park, there are a lot of animals which are controlled by a raccoon. All of them were preparing for winter. The raccoon tells them that winter is coming. So they brought food from different places in the park. The raccoon tells a squirrel named Andy that there is a van outside the park which has a lot of nuts in it. So he went with his friend and picked up some of the nuts. It turns out that this nut van is not a normal nut van. In fact, there are robbers in this van who want to rob a nearby bank. And to keep an eye on the bank, they made this nut van. After a while, a girl comes to these robbers. She thought that this is a real nut van, and she asks for nuts from that robber. But this robber was keeping an eye on the bank. Because of this, he misbehaves with this girl and tells her to leave. This little girl was also not an ordinary girl. She got scared and ran away. She also goes to a nearby police officer and tells him how the owner of the nut van misbehaved with her and even refused to give her nuts. In the meantime, Andy reaches with his friend so that he can steal nuts from here. But here Sully had already made a trap with his mouse friend so that he can take nuts from here for himself. Andy tells Sully that we both want nuts, so let's do a partnership. I will keep some nuts and you keep some nuts. But Sully tells Andy that I don't do partnership and I will take things from here for myself. After that, he comes down through the rope. Now there was a little puppy of those robbers nearby who had been watching these squirrels for a long time. And as soon as Sully comes down, she starts running on them. And in the meantime, the van with a stopper moves away. And this little van itself starts moving forward. Sully was also inside this nut cart, which was moving fast with this cart. When Andy sees, she tries to stop this cart. Now she puts a bucket in this cart, in which this cart stops for a while, and she immediately goes to see if Sully is okay. Sully had taken out some of his nuts in the meantime, and he was just about to leave. Now there was a small pump near this cart, which had gas inside. Suddenly this pump catches fire, because of which this cart goes fast to that park. Sully had taken his bag and left from here. The rest of Andy goes to the park with the same cart, and here they crash with the same tree, which had all the winter food. All the animals get very nervous because it was all the food of hard work, which was now all burnt. Here some people sent by Raccoon bring Sully, after which all these people say to Sully that we suffered a loss because of you. Now we have nothing to do with you. Andy tries to explain to Raccoon and the rest of the animals that it was not Sully's fault. But here Sully was sitting on a high pole. Andy comes to him and tries to convince him, but here he was not in any mood to listen. After a while, Sully's best friend Mouse comes to him, but here Sully suddenly falls down from this pole. There was a lot of traffic down here, and Sully runs away from there. Here Sully was very lonely, and he was also missing his friend. It was night and he had no one. Suddenly Sully hears something. First Sully gets very scared, then he finds out that there is no one here, but his friend Mouse has come. After which Sully scolds him a lot, and says that I had told you not to come anywhere with me. After this Sully goes ahead alone, that after a while some wild rats follow him. Sully goes to a tall building to get rid of them, but one time all those rats were surrounding Sully. Suddenly a pot falls on them. It turns out that it was Sully's friend Mouse. Now the wild rats leave Sully and run after that mouse. Sully sees a cage nearby which had a lot of pigeons, and Sully opens it, which drives away all those wild rats. Taking advantage of the situation, Sully helps these flying pigeons and catches a pigeon so that it also flies with them, but it could not go alone. Sully also catches his best friend Mouse, but the pigeon thinks that these two are very heavy and these people cannot go much further, but both of them fall down. Sully gets very upset when he falls that now there is no home to stay or food to eat, but he sees that there is a shop in front of him and there is a sign of nuts outside it. Seeing such a big shop, these two had fun. These two start dancing. Now it was very difficult to go inside the shop. These people were failing from everywhere. Finally, they get help. A car stops here from which some people get down, and they were going inside the shop. This was the only chance because the shop's door was open. Now Mouse goes inside and helps in the same way, after which Sully also comes inside the shop. It turns out that these people are the same robbers who wanted to rob the bank. Their boss was also present here. After this, they all take out a map and start planning how to reach the bank. Now Sully and his friend Mouse go to the rooftop where there were a lot of mouse traps, and there was cheese on them. Sully was hungry, so he starts taking cheese out of these traps, and while doing this, his tail gets stuck in a trap. Now he starts screaming here. His friend Mouse makes him shut up, but the robber's dog hears all this and starts barking loudly. After which we see that one of those robbers had a whistle, and as soon as he blows this whistle, that dog immediately shuts up. After seeing this whistle, Sully understands that if he wants to control this dog, then he will have to whistle. On the other hand, we again see all the animals in the park who were very scared because the winter's food was over. Now after this, Raccoon calls Andy and his friend again and says that you have to go and look for food again. Andy and his friend leave in search of food. On the other hand, we see that Sully was in a lot of fun. There were so many nuts and he was eating them that the dog comes here again and starts barking loudly. Again, a robber comes and whistles, and the owner gets so angry that he throws the whistle out, after which that dog was no longer in anyone's control. She was running after Sully, because of which Sully and his friend have to get out of there. Sully now understood that if he wants to go there again, then he will have to find that whistle so that that dog can be kept in control. They both go out and start looking for the whistle, but as soon as they find the whistle, Andy arrives here, and she understands that this whistle is very important for Sully, and she asks Sully, "What will you do with this whistle?" Sully did not want to tell Andy at all what is the real reason for it. After which Andy says that if you do not tell me, then I will throw this whistle in any drain. Here Sully's eyes are on the shop again, whose door was open again, and he understood that this is a chance to go inside the shop again. Now here he runs back to the shop with the mouse, and when Andy sees that Sully is running in the shop, she also runs after him. Here they all go to the basement together, and they are surprised there. There were so many nuts everywhere that all the animals could easily survive. Here Sully sees so many nuts and starts to bite his mouth, then Andy stops him, and suddenly the same dog of the robbers comes here, which runs after them. They all start running here and there. Sully gets stuck in a place with difficulty, after which he tells Andy to give him the whistle. Andy still tells him that I will give you the whistle, but on one condition. Polly has to listen to him, after which he takes the whistle and controls the dog here. The dog also had no other choice, he had to listen to Sully and Andy. Andy tells Sully that there are so many nuts here that I can't take them alone. I will need the help of all the other animals in the park. Here Sully tells him that I will make a plan together, and if you agree to it, then we can take all the nuts from here. Now Andy goes back to the park and tells all the animals that he got a lot of food. All the animals were not happy with the fact that they had to share all the food with Sully. Here a raccoon also comes, and with his cleverness he tells Andy that I will send some of my animals with you, and you can get food with their help. When all these animals reach Sully, Sully tells them that I have made a plan, and we will have to dig a tunnel here, through which we will take all the food out. Now all these people get to work. On the other hand, we see that all the robbers are after the bank, and they are busy with their own plans. Now all the animals were digging the tunnel, and here the dog comes and tells Sully that there is another hidden way through which all this work can be done easily. While working here, suddenly a dynamite nearby catches fire. Sully immediately throws it out of the shop, but the dog thinks that maybe he is being played with, and she brings the dynamite inside the shop, and it blasts as soon as it enters the shop, after which all the robbers start coming down. This dog gets very upset and tells Sully that if they find out that I could not stop you here, then they will kill me and take me out of my job. After which Sully tells her that you take me in your mouth so that you feel like you have caught me here. And this is exactly what happens. As soon as everyone comes down, the dog takes Sully in her mouth. It seems that she has caught Sully, and everyone loves this dog, that she has done this job very well. These robbers also see the tunnel dug there, which was out of their understanding. But they think that maybe this dog did this so that this squirrel could be caught. After that, they close the tunnel. Sully still explains to everyone that he has another plan. All the other animals say that this plan will have to be told to Raccoon. Sully does not like this. He explains to everyone that we are working hard. The plan is also ours, so what is the need to go and tell Raccoon? In the end, Raccoon takes all the credit. Sully is very disturbed by this, and he sits alone on the roof. Here his friend Mouse comes and explains to him. Their friendship here was very beautiful. Andy comes and explains to Sully that we have to do all the work for the animals so that we all have food. Here we find out that Raccoon really wanted that no one should get food. And he was also afraid that if Sully and Andy supply food to everyone, then Raccoon will not listen to anyone. And what he has been ruling over everyone will end. Raccoon sends a mole here, and he says that spoil their plan so that all these people can't bring any food to us. And in the same way, all the people of these two will start bad-mouthing. Now this mole reaches there and starts trying to spoil Sully's other plan. Sully sees here that the mole has started as soon as he opens the water. All the animals in the tunnel start floating. Sully goes inside that tunnel and saves all the other animals. And here he thinks that he should take his food and leave. Now here, before he takes his food, that dog reaches here. And in the same way, because of so much noise, a robber comes down and he sees Sully. After which he takes Sully in a cage and takes him upstairs. In the meantime, a robber's girlfriend comes upstairs and sees how the plan of robbery is being made. Now that girl doesn't like this, and she is very upset about this. After which she takes her dog and leaves. But before leaving, she does a very good thing. She also frees Sully in the cage. Sully comes out of the shop that the raccoon reaches there with some wild rats and catches Sully there. Sully says to this raccoon that I know about your plan. You want all this food to reach the animals. But before Sully was called anything else, Sully runs away from there. And this raccoon puts the same rats behind him so that he is caught. Now on the other hand, we see that all the other animals have reached there. And here Sully is trying to escape by saving his life. Suddenly there is an explosion here. Sully runs away from there. But before reaching there, he finds out that this is done by the robbers because they are involved in the robbery. All these robbers now come out with a lot of money. There was also a van in which they had kept all that money. Now to escape from the rest of the people here, they had also kept a lot of nuts in the bag. And they all had to go in the same van so that no one doubts. Now all the other animals with Andy see that there are a lot of nuts in the van after that. All these people go in the van. Now the raccoon was also seeing all this. And he thought that if all the animals are locked in this van, then these animals will also go from here and no food will be able to reach that park. As soon as all these animals go inside that van, the raccoon closes the door from outside. Now one good thing was that Sully was watching all this from the door. As soon as the van starts, Sully climbs on top of that van with his mouse friend. When the raccoon also sees this, he understands that if he wants all the other animals not to reach him, then he will also have to go with him. After that, he also climbs near the van. Now we see that Sully goes inside and tells Andy that you have to come out. But as soon as he opens the door of the van, the raccoon throws Sully out of the van. Now the reality of the raccoon had come in front of everyone that he really did not want food to reach that park in any way. The police also came to know about the car of these robbers. After that, a lot of police cars were following these robbers. Sully also got a good chance. He starts following them with a police car. Sully somehow gets into the same car in which all the animals were also there. There were police in front of this car and behind it too. Now this car comes and stops on a bridge where the police starts firing at them. The car in which there were a lot of nuts, it catches fire. The rest of the animals come out. But here Andy was still stuck inside, so he goes inside to save him. And this car was about to fall off the bridge. As soon as this car falls into the water, a lot of nuts spread everywhere. With Sully and Andy, that raccoon was also in the water. Now as soon as Sully tries to get out of the water, that raccoon catches Sully's feet. The rest of the animals reach for their help. But before they could save Sully, Sully understood that if he wanted the raccoon not to survive, he would have to leave it in the hands of everyone else. And with this, Sully leaves everyone else. After which Sully and that raccoon flow into the water and leave. And with the rest of the animals, a lot of food reaches the park. Seeing so many animals, the robbers also start screaming in fear, because of which they easily meet the police. On the other hand, all those animals reach the park. They also got a lot of food. But here that mouse was very sad. Andy was also very sad because he knew that now Sully would never come back. Meanwhile, that dog comes here who was with the robbers. And she tells them to come with me. After going a little far, they see how Sully is unconscious. They all thought that Sully has left them forever. After which Sully's friend starts crying a lot. But in the meantime, Sully comes to his senses. After which everyone is very happy. And this is how the movie ends.